horrible. I'll be honest, it was horrible. It was when you get shouted at when you're a kid by your mum and you know you've done something wrong and they tell you to go sit in the corner of the room or something, that's all right, but being a grown up, having your own children at home and making the mistakes and seeing a lady sat opposite you crying and knowing you've done that to her, it was hard. I ended up going with some other lads who were getting themselves into different crime that I've never committed, never even thought of doing. Going along with it, drinking more and following them and jumping in a car, and he ran in the store and jumped over the counter and threatened a lady behind the counter and then went out the back and threatened another lady. I just stood at the door and ran out and we stayed at one of his friends for a couple of days and then the police caught up with us. Obviously he just pleaded guilty from the police station, got sentenced about 4 weeks later. And they put me away for 8 years. Being in prison is one of the hardest things you can ever do. For me, having my kids out there, watching them grow up, and me not being there, just speaking to them on the phone, it's soul destroying for me. I didn't know anything about restorative justice. I was padded up with a lad who was a lifer, about 70-odd year old. I was only in with him for a couple of weeks, and he mentioned restorative justice. I didn't even know what it was. And he was saying, oh, you can send a letter to the lady out the shop, you can talk to it. And I just thought to myself it would be unbelievable to be able to do that. Restorative justice is all about the victim, where in my eyes, like I did restorative justice to make the victim feel that I'm not a monster, so if she did see me, then she doesn't have to feel scared of me anymore. It's unbelievable. It's the best thing you'll ever do. It's hard, don't get me wrong, it's not like one day and then bang, it's done. It takes its time, but and go forward for it if you really want to make a change to help somebody. When I seen like the lady, and I met her that first time, and she was sat across the table from me, and she didn't want to talk to me. She didn't like me. And fair enough. Who would? She said she had to come up for herself to look in my eyes to see if I was truthful, and she could see that I was truthful. So then she took a barrier down then, only a little bit, you know, because she's a feisty lady, the victim of the crime, and like that's what I'm saying with restorative justice. It's not a quick fix. They need to come back, take some time, have a think, come back because they might have 1,001 questions, but when they're sat in front of you, looking in your eyes, they might not be able to speak. What I did on that night wasn't me. It was a one-off. It'll never happen again. And for the lady, the victim of the crime, to see me, believe me, and understand that leopards can change their spots and don't have to. I'm not going to get out, go and commit another one. I'm not going to threaten her. I'm not going to do anything of the sort. All I'm going to do is change my life around and do the best for my kids. I thought it's unbelievable. Like.